What you making, Grandpa?
Hey, it's DIY Grandpa, and guess what? This bicycle has a flat tire. We've all had flat tires, haven't we? And maybe you just go to the bike shop and pay to have that done, but whatever happened to the old-fashioned way? Let's just fix the flat. So I'm pretty sure that I know that this one has a puncture because I just pulled this thorn. Can you see that thorn? I just pulled that out of it. So my guess is that it's got a puncture, and we should just take it apart and see if we can fix the inner tube. It's a cheap fix. Don't even have to buy a new one. Let's give it a try. So you probably know how to take off the rear tire. It's a little bit more difficult than taking off the front one, but this is a quick release, and we just take that off like that, get the chain off, and now we've got the tire off. I like to use just a couple of metal plier, just the handle part, because it slides nice and easy. I think the first thing we want to do is loosen up the valve stem here, and there's just a screw on there, and that way when we're ready to pull the inner tube out, that's all ready to go. But you can just kind of stick the pliers in here and use it to pry that part of the inner tube up right here, and then take another one and just kind of slide it along like this, and that's how we get the tire off. Tire off of that rim, and now I've got it loose on one side, you see, and there's the inner tube in there. So I should just be able to pull that inner tube out like that, and then we'll go to the next step. We're going to get a bucket of water, and we're going to try and find that flat. All right, so I've got my bucket of water here. This is full of water, and we've got our inner tube, which I'm going to pump up full of air. And then I like this chalk, this seamstress chalk. I got it from my wife because it marks well on the inner tube when it's wet. But you could use regular chalk, or you could use a permanent marker or anything like that, just to mark where your leaks are. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to put it in the water and look for the bubbles and see where the air is leaking out. Okay, well, our tire, our inner tube is all pumped up. Let's put it down in the bucket now. What we're looking for is we're just looking for a little stream of air, air bubbles coming up. Haven't found it yet. There's one. You see that? You see the air coming up? There's actually two, and we thought there was because we pulled two stickers out right there. Okay, so you can see where I have marked with a circle here, and that's where we're going to put the patch on. We've got 3 places on the tire that I've marked, and so let's go get our patch kit. This is a inner tube patch kit that you can get at your local bicycle store or local sporting goods store, and so these are the patches. Comes with this little tool here, just a piece of metal with that's to rough up the place you're gonna put the patch on. had 2 holes here. So I'm going to put one right here. Just kind of press that down. They're self-adhesive. Man, when I was a kid, we would cut a piece of inner tube and use glue on it. It would take quite a while to dry, but these just go right on. Just like that. Those little discs. So we'll go around and we'll patch the other spots, and then be sure and put it back in the water to make sure that it's not still leaking. Okay, so just took it out of the water. It's not bubbling anymore. So now we're ready to put it back into the tire and back on the wheel. So now we're going to put the tire back in. I think it's easier when you put in the valve stem first, and then we just kind of push the tire up into the, or not the tire, but we push the inner tube up into the tire. And then in order to get it all to fit, I'm going to let the air out. But I think it's easier to deal with the inner tube when it's full of air. But then when I'm trying to get the tire back on the rim, I'm going to let some of this air out. So you can see it's all in there now. And so now let's let some air out. All right, great. Now it's time to get that inner tube to the seat, and be careful not to pinch the inner tube into the rim. See how we're getting this seated? Getting this tire seated. And then this patch kit came with some fancy little tools here, and I don't know, I kind of like my wrench handles better, but let's see about using these tools here. Yeah, that works. All right, so our tire is all seated back in the rim, and all that's left would be to pump it up. Wouldn't it be great if it would hold air? Yeah, I think that's the idea. Well, I've got the tire pumped up. Let's get it up to about 40. There we go. Hey, looks good. And we'll get it put back on the bike and take it for a spin. Okay, now it's time to put that back tire back on. So we need to pull the derailleur here and get it onto the sprocket, and then we'll put the put it back in onto the bike here, making sure that we get the disc into the brake in the back. So that looks pretty good. Let's get it all tightened down now and make sure the derailleur works right. Okay, looks like it turns. I like to turn it in reverse here just to make sure that it's all smooth and the chain is on right, and then now it's in gear, so yeah, we've got a chain back on. Great. So we patched a tire, and that tire patch kit only cost me $5.50, and hey, it will last a long time. I think a new tube costs about $10, and I did it in the time that it would have taken just to put this bike in the car and take it to the bike shop. So saved money, spent about the same amount of time, and we did it ourselves. So hope that helps. See you next time.